Surprising news at the close of last week. Eric Holder, Attorney General, making a big move to curtail one of the least just aspects of the war on drugs, and that is civil asset forfeiture. Basically, it's where the feds and state and local police would investigate or raid an individual who was suspected of committing a crime. Then they would take his assets. We're talking about things that could be cars, they could be drugs, they could be money, literally. And then they would just keep it, even if you never ended up charging the person of any crime, let alone convicting them of a crime. And they made significant money off of that. Since 2008, thousands of local and state police agencies have made more than 55,000 seizures of cash and property worth at least $3 billion under a civil asset forfeiture program at the Justice Department called equitable sharing.
The freaking names that they give these things.
It does sound nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it sounds like it's not a problem at all.
It's great. Equal. Sharing. I'm trying to teach my daughter to share and do things equally. It's
Barney
great.
Sponsored it. So to give you a little bit more details about what that actually meant in practice, the program enabled local and state police to make seizures and then have them adopted by federal agencies. They put them in good homes, which share in the proceeds. The program allowed police departments and drug task forces to keep up to 80% of the proceeds of the adopted seizures, with the rest going to federal agencies. Now, can you imagine whether that might provide some incentive for them to take more than they strictly need to just gobble up all the cash and guns and drugs and cars and pornography?
Well, one could argue they don't need any of it. That's not why you get into law enforcement to steal shit.
Exactly. But if you are making a profit off of taking it, then suddenly the justice aspect might not care as much. The financial aspect might matter a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, and of course there's incredibly little oversight. Some people get their money back, but very few, and it's a difficult process for which
you have to have money to sue.
You have to have money to have a lawyer to sue. Many of these people don't. I suspect that a majority of that $3 billion was ill-gotten goods, but I don't really know. But here's what wasn't: 100% of it.
Yeah.
We're certain of that. The great thing about this plan by the announcement by the Obama administration and Eric Holder is good luck to conservatives trying to oppose this, because here's where one of the rare cases where even crazy, out-of-touch conservatives who dominate the Republican Party now and have driven sane Republicans elsewhere for the most part. Here's where the progressives and those people come together. Nobody wants the government to take your stuff.
People who haven't even been charged with a crime or convicted.
To take people's private stuff. You're not allowed to. You can't do it.
That is literally the core principle of the conservatives, the craziest conservatives.
I'm not a big fan of it, even if you're convicted of a crime. I mean, in general, you go to prison. There might be some sort of fine, right?
Yeah. Well, especially if you need to compensate the victims or something like that.
Right, I got it. But I mean, like if you get 12 years in prison and a $150,000 fine, I mean, that's a big deal. I don't think they also get to take your house. I don't know. That just doesn't seem, I mean, I got it. If your house was entirely purchased with the proceeds of so I'm with it. None of us, no sane, rational thinking American is really comfortable with government seizure, with forfeiture of assets to the government, where clearly the balance of power doesn't exist, where you are fighting a constant uphill struggle just to get people to hear your case.
Yeah, totally. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't roll back all of that, like the people who actually are convicted of crimes, but it does roll back much of it. There's going to be some exceptions, like if they need to take something that they think could cause harm to someone, they might do that. And so they will still be seizing firearms. That's one area that some conservatives might not be a big fan of. And understand, we've got some exceptions which we're going to tell you, but you should also understand that this has been going on, as we told you, since at least 2008. It's been controversial from the very beginning, with good cause, and various states have tried to combat it with things like, well, you can take this stuff and you can sell it and you can make that money, but the money can't stay within the Justice Department or the local and state police. It needs to go into some sort of common fund to fund education or something like that. So even the states understood that there was some funny business going on. But now it has largely been rolled back. As I said, there are exceptions. Some of those exceptions include illegal firearms, ammunition, explosives, and property associated with child pornography, a small fraction of the total. This would eliminate virtually all cash and vehicle seizures made by local and state police from the program, which made up a large percentage of that $3 billion figure that we told you about. There are a few other exceptions, though, which is causing some critics of the original program to think that this change may not be as big as it seems on its face. There are exceptions made to seizures by state and local authorities working together with federal authorities in a joint task force. Seizures by state and local authorities that are the result of joint federal-state investigations or that are coordinated with federal authorities as part of ongoing federal investigations, or seizures pursuant to federal seizure warrants. Now that does theoretically provide quite a few outs. If the federal authorities and state authorities wanted to continue to generate some money off of this, they could do it, but it would be significantly more difficult. And for those of us who are not a big fan of the war on drugs and know that this is often used in raids on like pot farms, dispensaries, and things like that, then this move by Eric Holder is yet another good move by the Justice Department.
You can't, I mean, first of all, if you raid a pot farm, I get it, let's just say it's illegal, say it's a cocaine farm, so we can make everybody a heroin farm.
It's a good crop this year.
Right, good crop of
drugs.
Black tar heroin. So you come in and you seize the drugs and you arrest the person, and again, you can have a fine, but they can seize the property. That's not going to be part of the judgment at trial. Like, they get to do it before. It's so antithetical to the system that you get a trial.
Cash.
Right, you can't take their cars and I don't know. So anyway, we all agree here, great plan, and I challenge conservatives to oppose that one.